Alright, will this one work? Let's see, boys. Okay. And record. Alright, should be up now. So we're trying this one last time, and for some reason, it's not working here. Come on. I don't get it. Right. We should be all good to go. I don't understand why. 10:58. Yeah. Oh shit. No, it's still not working. This is very unfortunate. Alright. Alright, so audio seems to be working. What if I get rid of... So... hello. This is actually extremely aggravating, I'm not gonna lie. Alright, let's hit restart on this bad boy. Get rid of that. Hey, okay. Maybe this will work. Oh, it's still not working. This is very unfortunate. Alright, so audio seems to work. What if I get rid of... Okay, so... I don't... We're almost there. We are. Trust me. What's that? Right. At the bare minimum possible. Hopefully, this is working. I hear the audio is. I don't know why the video is still frozen. Hey, okay. so are we... Are things working or not? I don't know. This is fucking shitty, dude. The bare minimum possible. Hopefully. This is working. I hear the audio. Okay, I think it's working now, guys. Let's go, dude. It be working and such. Okay. So after all that rigmarole, welcome back to the A-side. I am your host, Riley. Finally got this to work, so let's just test. I think my stream is a couple minutes behind. So I'm just gonna wait and see if it does that here. But I think things might be working now. I think. Let's hope. We are very behind, but they're working. Yo, Mikey. How it be, man? I think things are working. I don't know. Welcome back to the A-side. Yeah, so I'm working. Anyway, it's good to see you all. Why is AJ on here? I know. So, yeah, pretty much, I'm gonna tweet out this link. Okay, I'm glad this is working. The Beatles better go in top tier. Alrighty. Okay. This took way too long to get going, but... So I'm going to be ranking a bunch of rock bands. I have chat here. So, yeah, I just tweeted this out. Hopefully people will join. We'll see. I already got 3 people viewing, so... if you're watching this on a VOD later, hello. But anyway... What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through this entire list of all these bands and artists and rank them on tiers, to my opinion. Of course, I'm going to know some bands more than others, right? So there are going to be some bands I know only a couple tracks from that I'm going to rate, as well as artists that I'm familiar with, like their entire discography I'll rate. And I'll try and be fair to bands I'm not as familiar with and rate them from what I know and influence and stuff. Give Soulja Boy his own tier. Yeah, Soulja Boy is S tier. So yeah, and obviously there are a lot of bands on here I'm not familiar with. I haven't heard everything in the world, so let's just get right into it. So this first band, 10cc, I've never heard of ever. So, yeah, that is self-explanatory. Let me put this up on Snap. You know what? I don't need it. Whatever. Let's just get into it. So, our first pick here is the 1975. So, that's not where it's going. I just need to scroll up because I'm on a laptop. Now, I'm in between here. I think I'm going to go Amazing on 1975. Definitely Tiny Tim, top 3. I agree. Living in the Sunlight. Banger. I'm going to be a little harsh here for Greatest of All Time. Right? I want to keep that very, very... kind of special, but I don't know. The 1975 discography is really good, except for the newest album. And I think they're... Yeah, I'm actually going to put them in Greatest of All Time tier. You can fight me. The first 3 albums are some of the best pop rock albums of all time. Um, in my humble opinion, Blink-182 is far superior to the Beatles. And oh, there's a fight in chat between who's better, Blink or Beatles. One of you is gonna be really disappointed when we get there. But 1975, I think, are one of the greatest pop rock bands of all time. At least their first three albums really ride the line between pop and rock very well, especially the self-titled debut. And then I Like It When You Sleep being very reminiscent of more kind of ambient sides of rock in places, but still being like a throwback to 80s pop. And then, of course, A Brief Inquiry into Online Relationships is an album that's very particularly special to me. Notes in the Conditional Form still sucks, and I will fight you with that. 10cc is like a one-hit wonder kind of vibe. Yeah, I've never heard of them. So yeah, I think I'm going to put 1975 in greatest of all time tier, and you can fight me on that one. Next band, One Direction. Okay, here. One Direction, I'm going to put in the okay tier. And this is going to be controversial, but they're a fun band, right? I hated them in elementary school because I was a little hipster, but now now in today's world, I don't mind them. They're fine. We have a debate in chat going who'd be better, Blink or Beatles. I don't know if I mentioned this already, but we'll get there. And Caleb, I agree. Weezer slaps. Great band. Three Doors Down. I know one Three Doors Down song. That's Kryptonite. I like that song, but I know they are a very... Kryptonite's definitely a guilty pleasure. They're a very butt-rocky band for sure. So I'm also going to, I think, put them on the somewhat tolerable tier, because Kryptonite is something... Oh, my computer's... Okay. No. Because Kryptonite is a song I would never come back to on my own, but one I still really like. Next, we have Third Eye Blind, a band I'm, once again, not super familiar with. Oh my god, my computer is lagging like hell right now. So a band I'm not entirely very familiar with, but they have two songs I know very well. Jumper, and then Third Eye, and then Semi-Charmed Life. So I'm going to put them on the great tier, simply because Semi-Charmed Life is one of my favorite songs ever written. So I'm gonna put them on good, just because I don't know too much about them, but from what I have heard, they are an amazing band. I'm hoping to check out more, but I'll put them on the good for now. I don't know how things keep getting in here that aren't supposed to be up here. But we'll get to these bands when we get to him. Four Non Blondes is another band I've heard one song from. It's a good song. Yeah, You Don't Know You're Beautiful is a banger, right? It's a great song. They have, I don't know how to rank this band. I'm going to put them in Don't Know, personally, just because the only song I know is the one from, Fantastic Secret Powers, the really stupid video from, like, 2009 with, He-Man. Right, so we're not gonna get into that. I'll leave that there for now. Five Finger Death Punch. If you know me, you know that this is going in the absolute worst tier. Monster Core energy to its highest. Here, I'm gonna put, I think, chat somewhere better. I wish I could put them. That I could look at them, and I wonder if I could. You're insecure. You're insecure. You're insecure. You're insecure. Can I put that? Oh my god. I got this. Alright. So Five Finger Death Punch is, to its core, like, Monster Energy core. It's not good whatsoever. Like, Coming Down. Their cover of The Outcast's Gone Away is, like, the cringiest thing ever. And most of their most famous songs are covers, and the ones they do wrote are just your normal chugga-chug riffs. Butt rock Monster Energy core to its, to the degree, honestly. These are the kind of people who do nothing but pick up and put down the heavy all day, you know. Just kind of cringe. 5 Seconds of Summer, I'm going to put into the somewhat tolerable tier. I think they are fine for what they are. They're a fun enough pop band, but one I'm not too fond of. Um, I like Youngblood a lot. I love that song, but a lot of their stuff just isn't really for me. I think they are just watered down pop punk to its core. Next, we have Avenged Sevenfold, which is, I'm going to put in a decent category. Actually, you know what? I'll put Avenged in the good category. Lil Pump should be on here, honestly. He'd be a tier of his own. And I'm sorry for not reading your comments and stuff faster. The chat is this is so delayed by a really long time, and I wish it wasn't, but it is. It's delayed by like a minute and a half right now. So I'm gonna put Avenged Sevenfold in the good category. I like Avenged Sevenfold. I like some of their music. I think they're a little edgy and not in like a good kind of way. I don't know. They have some really good songs. Like, I love A Little Piece of Heaven. It's not a great song, at least lyrically, but it's one I like for nostalgia purposes, like Backcountry. There are a lot of songs I enjoyed that I don't think are necessarily great, but still good. Like The Stage, Nightmare. I think they're a good band, but not a great one, so that's why they're there. AC/DC, I'm also going to put in the absolute worst tier. They wrote one song and repeated it over and over and over and over again. I think Speeding Bullet to Heaven is better than The Airplane Over the Sea. I disagree with that, but it's close. Tonic is greatest of all time. Caleb coming in here with all the takes of artists I don't know. I'm going to put AC/DC in the absolute worst tier. I cannot stand them. I don't know how anyone could listen to them. The guitar like riffs and solos aren't that good. The vocals are terrible, and every song sounds absolutely the same. And it's not as much of a bad thing if it's a good song, but it's not. I mean, TNT is unlistenable. Back in Black is the most overplayed song of all time, or at least one of them. Yeah, I hate AC/DC. I'll be honest, I think this is Aerosmith right here. I'll put Aerosmith in good tier as well, I think. Once again, not a band I'm as super familiar. Ooh, definitely not that. We'll get to that in a second. I'm putting Aerosmith in good tier. They're iconic. They've got some great songs. I like Dream On a lot. Love in an Elevator. You know, I'm gonna bump them down a decent tier. They're good, but not great. I don't have any opinion on Alice Cooper. Alice in Chains, I'm going to put here on the good tier, in between Third Eye Blind and Avenged Sevenfold. A band I do really want to check out more for sure. Lane Staley being, they're being them one of the big three of grunge. I do really like Rooster and Man in the Box, but once again, just haven't heard as much. But from what I've heard, they're really good. They're on the same tier as like Pearl Jam and Soundgarden and stuff. Just a matter of I need to listen to more to have a solid opinion on them. But from what I've heard, I will put them on good tier. I'm waiting for a band I'm really, really familiar with, and we're actually getting to one right now. A band I'm extremely... I do like Tom Petty. A band I'm really familiar with, AJR. Alright, so you'd think I'd put them on the absolute worst tier, right? I'm gonna put them on the bad tier. Okay. Hear me out. Hear me out. AJR fucking sucks. Okay. I've made videos talking about every single one of their albums. But when I compared them to bands like Five Finger Death Punch or AC/DC, I'm a bit warmer toward them. Because I think every AJR album has at least one good song, right? I think there is talent behind AJR. They just really suck. Did you know that the lead singer from Aerosmith has ancestors from Plattsburgh? I didn't know that. That's really interesting, actually. You'll have to tell me about that sometime. Like on Snap or something. That's really interesting. I didn't know that. Brian Wilson actually has ancestors from Jay. Fun fact. We'll get to the Beach Boys in a minute. So yeah, AJR. Every album see, I think In the Aeroplane Over the Sea is a 2. and Speedboat to Heaven's a 1, but they're pretty close. So yeah, like Living Room, their debut album, I actually think is a really good record. I really like Living Room. The Click is hot garbage, but it also has a couple decent songs on it. I really like Sober Up, and I believe the other song's called Coming Up, the one I really like. Then Neo Theater, while also being a terrible album, has The Entertainment Here, which is probably my favorite AJR song. It's a song I really genuinely love. And once again, OK Orchestra was really bad, but there are a couple good songs on there I liked. Christmas in June, Bang was okay. So I don't actually think they're like the worst band ever. They're better than, when I compare them to the bands I put in the absolute worst tier, I enjoy them a little more. So I think that's a really hot take, but I can't even read this, who these are, I'm sorry. Animal Collective. Another band I'm actually pretty fond of. Animal Collective. I'm gonna put them in the great tier. I've heard one Animal Collective album, Meriwether Post Pavilion, and I think you know what? I'm gonna put them in the amazing tier. I think this band's pretty great. I've only heard Meriwether Post Pavilion, but it's a weird like psychedelic noise rock post-punk album that has like weird synth lines and like dreamy harmonies, and it is a wild time. And I wish my computer wouldn't keep freezing. This is really obnoxious. So I'm gonna put them in the amazing tier. Just listen to Meriwether Post Pavilion. It's super like psychedelic and like heady and weird, but it feels like you're on an adventure. And it's a record I really like. So, and I know Strawberry Jam has a lot of fans too. Their other album. Riley, if you love my game, move AJR down a tier. I'm sorry, but they're way better than Five Finger Death Punch or AC/DC. Maybe I will later when we get into... These aren't final, these aren't set in stones. I might change these around as I go on. So, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. This is going to be an awful VOD. I'm way too distracted. I need to find a better way to look at... John Lennon was actually my 7th cousin's dad's neighbor. That reminds me of Spaceballs. So yeah. The Animals, I have no opinion on the Animals. I have no opinion on Anthrax. Arctic Monkeys, right. This is gonna also go up all the way into greatest of all time. Probably actually above the 1975, right? The very first Arctic Monkeys album, Whatever People Say I Am, That's What I'm Not, is one of the greatest debut albums of all time. I called him John. Long John Boo Boo Lennon Lime Twist. Thank you, Caleb. Very cool. Lennon Lime. Very nice. The Arctic Monkeys are one of my favorite bands. I think their debut album, Whenever People Say They Am, That's What I'm Not, is an album filled with so much energy and character. Alex Turner's lyricism is so snarky and cuts just like a knife. It's really good stuff. And they followed up with an equally as good second album entitled Favorite Worst Nightmare. I really enjoyed Favorite Worst Nightmare. Not as good as the first album, but the first half especially is amazing. You have like hit after hit after hit, right? Like it starts off with Brainstorm, then Teddy Picker, and D is for Dangerous, and it just keeps going until you hit the magnum opus that is, I'm sorry, I'm very burpy tonight. I have to keep muting my mic. The magnum opus that is Fluorescent Adolescent, which is just a super catchy pop rock song. And I think that's what Arctic Monkeys to its core does so good in the first two albums, is they write these super fast, upbeat and snarky kind of garage rock dance punky songs, but also makes them extremely catchy with super infectious riffs and hooks, and really memorable choruses. So, yeah. And they started to experiment more as time went on. Humbug is this kind of more psychedelic, darker, kind of layered album, which isn't as good as the first two, but it's still pretty good. And then there's Suck It and See, which is a pretty basic rock album, reminds me of almost like rock from the 60s in a way, but has a bit of a more psychedelic vibe to it. I think that album is beautiful and extremely underrated. It's one of my favorites. They then made AM, and I think AM is kind of the weak point in their discography, But ARTV Corliss, just wait. I'll disagree with him eventually. And then their newest album, Tranquility Base Hotel Casino, is this weird, like, space lounge pop album. That's a concept album about retired celebrities living on the moon. So I think that's really awesome. I think that record works really well, too. So out of their 6 albums, I love 5 of them, with one still being good, but the second half takes no risks on AM. So I'm going to put them there for now. Once again, this can change, but it might not. I doubt Arctic Monkeys will. They're a band that means a lot to me. Audio Slave, I know the history of, but I don't have an opinion on them. Bare Naked Ladies, I'm going to put in good tier. I know one Bare Naked Ladies song, and it's Jackson 3004. 30,004 is good too. And he auto-corrects himself. Jackson 5. Thank you. Bare Naked Ladies have the one song, 1 Week, which is the most fun song ever written about a funeral. It's in the Digimon soundtrack. It's a banger. Let's move on. The Beach Boys! Right. Okay. So, I'll be talking about this band soon on a podcast with the Classic Rock Corner, who's here. So this is going to get greatest of all time, right? And it's going to be at the top. Pet Sounds alone would put them here. Right. They're one of the most influential bands of all time. They're one of my favorite bands of all time. And of course, they have made some of the most iconic and amazing hits of all time from the early 60s. Surfin' Safari, Surfin' USA, Get Around, Fun, Be True to Your School. So many, like, iconic hits. And also a lot of really beautiful ballads from that time period. The Warmth in the Sun being about the Kennedy assassination is this beautiful ballad. Don't Worry Baby being this love song that's just, once again, absolutely beautiful. Brian Wilson had such a knack for writing these beautiful harmonies. And he was one of the greatest producers of all time. And I think once he started to work with an orchestra, you could really see that. Like on the second half of their album, The Beach Boys Today, which was all these, like, beautiful, slow ballads with these wonderful harmonies. And eventually they'd make Pet Sounds, which is this magnum opus of a record that really was the first in so many ways of a lot of things. And every song on Pet Sounds is just a gorgeous piece of perfect pop rock, inspired by exotica and classical music and psychedelia, and all these things just come together with Brian Wilson's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful harmonies, and his lyricism as well, being pretty simple, but amazing at the same time. And after Pet Sounds, which is their masterpiece, right? Every song on the album, I mean, God Only Knows, Wouldn't It Be Nice, I Just Wasn't Made for These Times, Put Your Head on My Shoulder. Oh, Mikey, you make these streams so interesting. They were on Full House, but we don't talk about that era when John Stamos joined the Beach Boys. We don't talk about Summer in Paradise. That record's garbage. But after Pet Sounds, they actually put out a lot of really good albums that people don't pay as much attention to. They worked on the Smile Sessions, which didn't come out. Smile didn't come out until many, many years later, but it's an amazing album. It's got, like, Vegetable, and Heroes and Villains, of course, Good Vibrations, which is, like, one of the greatest songs ever written. Like, imagine hearing Good Vibrations in 1966 for the first time. Your mind would have been blown, right? After that, they put out Wild Honey, which was this, like, weird lo-fi R&B Motown-inspired record that has, like, early use of, like, synthesizers, and it's, like, really, like, raw vocally, but it's an amazing album that works really... Bob Saget is a really funny comedian. He keeps blocking people on car seat headrest Twitter, funny enough. Long Live Pet Sounds, I agree. And then after that, they made Friends, which is this really, like, chill, vibey album that's just so relaxing. It's one of my favorites. And then in the early 70s, they hit a double home run of making Surf's Up and Sunflower, which I think even rival the quality of Pet Sounds. Both of those albums are amazing. Of course, Surf's Up has the titular track, Surf's Up, which is just so atmospheric and perfect, but also has the beautiful ballad Disney Girls and the kind of life-changing Till I Die, and so many other amazing tracks, whereas Sunflower tries to be more fun and reminiscent of some of their other stuff. Like, they've got the beautiful, fun love song Deirdre, or the closing track Cool Cool Water, which is one of my favorite. Hello, Ghost Ninja. I agree, Radiohead. We'll get there. My man. Good to see you here. Um, where was I? Oh, Sunflower, and then has Cool Cool Water, which was made from assets from the Smile Sessions that weren't used at the time, and the use of early synthesizers and the beautiful harmonies on that song make it so much more than it really should be. And of course, my favorite track from this album is All I Want to Do, which is a predecessor to the genre shoegaze, and it's so psychedelic and warm, and one of my absolute favorite Beach Boys albums. And even though they started going downhill after Sunflower, they still had some hits every once in a while. Of course, 1988, they made Kokomo, which is an amazing song. It's iconic. And then they did make Summer in Paradise, which is one of the worst records I've ever had the displeasure of hearing. And they broke up for a while, but in 2012 they put out That's Why God Made the Radio, and that was a great album and a really good kind of swan song for the band. And I am ranking these, by the way, as well, within the tiers. So the ones who are all the way to the left here are my top ones. So let's see who's next. The Beatles! Are you ready? Are you ready for me to go on another tangent super long? She wants to dance like Uma Thurman. Oh my god, I'll get there. The Beatles are gonna go right here, in between Arctic Monkeys and the 1975, if it wants to work for me. Which it doesn't want to. There you go. In between the Arctic Monkeys and the 1975. So, here you go. This is, the Beatles, right? Objectively speaking, I know you created it when you were young. I remember you saying that on Twitter a long time ago when you were going by it. Still, listen, it's definitely, you can tell it's definitely made by a 10-year-old, but anyway, yes, you should listen to Pet Sounds. It's the best album ever made, right? So Beatles, I think, are objectively the greatest band in all of history. They revolutionized everything. They created multiple genres, including heavy metal, and they did so much by defining what an... Caleb says, I love Pet Sounds. Whales help me sleep. Defining pretty much what an album could be, with albums like Rubber Soul, which was one of the first albums to really be a complete album that was cohesive. The only other album to really ever do that was in the 50s, Frank Sinatra's In the Wee Small Hours. But Rubber Soul kind of was the first record to do that and make it mainstream. And then, of course, that inspired Brian Wilson to do that for Pet Sounds. And at that point, oh, I just hit my mic really hard. That became the standard for what albums were and music were. And, of course, the Beatles continued to push their sound from there because they started out as your, normal English skiffle band, making songs about girls and love and holding their hands. That's a really bad impression. Hey, Ringo, I wrote another song about love. But then slowly you could hear them start to evolve. Like on their second album, there was Till There Was You, which was another beautiful ballad, right? And then, as it keeps going, you get Beatles for Sale, which was the first album, allegedly, that they started making after Bob Dylan gave them a pot. And you can see that they're kind of going in more of an artsier direction until you get to Rubber Soul, where they really put these folk and some psychedelic inspirations in there. And then Rubber Soul happens and everything changes from that moment. They become extremely psychedelic and experimental. You've got songs like Tomorrow Never Knows, I'm Only Sleeping, and these just super heady, transcendent songs that nothing else could compare to at the time, except for what the Beach Boys were doing. And then, of course, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band is the most influential album of all time. pretty much creating the idea of a concept album. Super psychedelic, super weird, and pushed that even further on Magical Mystery Tour, which is my favorite Beatles album. White Album is so eclectic and created so many different sounds and so many different genres, including, as you just mentioned, Helter Skelter, which created heavy metal, Revolution 9, which is a song I don't like, but one that created avant-garde and so many other things, and they would become the most influential band of all time at that point, just to put out Abbey Road to be even more iconic. And they're a band that's just... McCartney and Lennon were one of the greatest songwriting duos in history, and then put George Harrison's songwriting on top of that, and you have one of the best latter halves of a discography in the entirety of music in general. From Beatles for Sale to Abbey Road, if you don't want to count Yellow Submarine, is just some of the greatest things ever made, and changed music forever. Lennon and McCartney have written some of the most amazing songs of all time, including Lennon, songs that I think really have done so much for me, and songs I think some have even, I would say, changed my life. Strawberry Fields Forever means so much to me in my life, across the universe. Lennon wrote some amazing songs, but McCartney wrote a lot of the fun, poppy songs, and George Harrison wrote a lot of the really kind of interesting experimental songs, like Blue Jay Way, which is another one of my favorites. So, one of my friends, you probably know them from Twitter, thinks She Loves You is the best Beatles song. Interesting. Bring back Boycott's Beatles' life. I'm only a virgin by choice. Oh, just wait for the virgin joke. Forget no weasel. Sir, I'm putting Beatles there, right? I could talk all day about how much I love this band, but we're gonna stop so we can get to the other groups. Beck is one that has a lot of weight to it. I've heard a couple Beck songs, but I'm gonna put it in the don't know for now because that's kind of a lot to unpack. Black Flag, I know, is a hardcore punk band, but I'm gonna put it here for now. My computer's being slow. Kill is a virgin because he's a nerd. Yeah, Ella, what did you think of that little Beatles spiel? I know you agree with at least the S tier ranking, but so Blink-182. All right, Ella, Mikey, get ready. You're about to where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Right. I like Revolution 9 because it sounds like one of those old internet creepypasta videos that Mudahar used to watch. Yeah. When you say Lennon, I keep thinking of Vladimir Lenin. Yeah. I mean, hey, he's S tier too. Let's be. Anyway, Blink-182 is gonna go right here, in the greatest of all time categories, at the very top at the moment. If it's gonna work, if it's gonna load. But this is too much for my computer to handle. Come on. Come on. Yeah, so there's Blink-182, right? Blink-182 has never released a bad album. They're a band that really shaped my music taste, specifically the self-titled album. It's one of my favorite albums of all time. Songs like Feeling This, I Miss You, Violence, Obvious, Always, and of course Stockholm Syndrome, which is my favorite of the any Blink-182 song, right? But even before that, they were putting out some amazing albums. Enema of the State, having one of the most iconic album covers of all time, one of the most fun pop-punk albums ever made. And after that, I think they would even go to put out some great albums. Neighborhood took some of the ideas on the self-titled album and took influence from Tom DeLonge's band, Angels and Airwaves, and made this really just amazing kind of spacey pop-punk album. Not spacey as in like space, but space as in outer space, like a space rock pop-punk album with these synthesizers and just weirder songs. But I think it's a masterpiece. A lot of people hate it. I love that record. I think even now with Skiba 182, they're putting out some great stuff. I really loved 9. kind of once again incorporating some modern pop and like trappy elements into pop punk, but not in like a cringe Fall Out Boy way, in a way that makes their sounds so fresh. And I still think the darker lyricism on the album is up to snuff for Blank. So yeah, one of my favorite bands of all time, one I listen to so much, and they have some really good singles too. Their greatest hits album is home to two songs, one known as Not Now, and the other Man Overboard, which are objectively the two best Blink-182 songs. What's My Age Again is an amazing song. So fun lyrics while still being relatable. But Not Now, I think, is the pinnacle of the mature Blink-182 era. And I think that AJR, an infantile disorder, Vladimir Lenin, that Man Overboard is kind of the pinnacle of like the Anima style songwriting. They're just such an infectious band that's just so much fun to listen to, and defined pop punk to what it is today, and has helped define me as a person that I am today. So, yeah. Blink-182 gets all time for me. Ella and Mikey, you can duke it out in the chat. Blondie are decent, right? Like One Way or Another is a good song. Heart of Glass is cool, but that one song, Only One, that song fucking sucks. So I'm gonna put them in decent for now. And the Ramones said they sold out, and I would have to agree. I don't know how Coldplay got there. Let's talk about Coldplay now. I want to put Coldplay on the good tier. Riley from about a year ago would not have done this, and I have grown to appreciate Coldplay a lot more than I used to. Parachutes, their debut album, is a perfect album. I think Parachutes is amazing. Songs like Yellow, Shiver, Spies, Sparks, the title track, Everything's Not Lost, and of course the opening tracks. Don't Panic is my favorite Coldplay song, one that just hits me so emotionally, especially the opening tracks. Bones sinking like stones, all that we've fallen for. And the closing lyrics, yeah, everybody here's got somebody to lean on, are just hit me so hard, and the entire song does. I love Don't Panic, and they follow that up with the record A Rush of Blood to the Head, which I think is pretty boring. A lot of people really love that album. Some say it's the best Coldplay album. I think most of it is boring, with the exception of Clocks. I think Clocks is a really pretty song. And In My Place, which is another one of my favorite Coldplay songs. X and Y I feel similarly about. I love the speed of sound, but the rest of the album bores me to death. And then I think Viva La Vida is a pretty amazing album, especially Brian Eno's production. Songs like 42, Strawberry Swing. Believe it or not, my least favorite track on that album is the title track. I'd rather listen to Fallen Kingdom. So, yeah, and then they go to make my second favorite album, Milo Xyloto, which for the first time, Coldplay seems like they have so much energy and life in them, so much color. Songs like Paradise, Charlie Brown, Every Teardrop is a Waterfall, with those, like, arpeggiated, like, dance synthesizers sound amazing. I love Coldplay. My favorite is the Bends. I agree, Matt Bellamy is a great lead singer. After that, they went to go make Ghost Stories, which I think is one of their more experimental albums to this day. It's super, like, electronic and, like, programmed, and it's really dark. There's a lot of heavy auto-tune, and it's super sad and heartbreaking because Chris Martin had just divorced his wife, Gwyneth Paltrow, and he was super sad over it, and wrote all these really sad lyrics and sad songs like Midnight, I think, is the defining song on that record, with its dark tone and, like, heavy, dark auto-tune. It's so sad, but it's just a beautiful album, and one I really appreciate. The other two Coldplay albums after that fucking suck. A Head Full of Dreams is garbage, and I've ranted about their entire discography. There's a Coldplay ranked video. Just go watch that. Bob Dylan? Is that Bob Dylan? Yeah, I think it is. My dad likes Rush of Blood to the Head. Your dad is wrong. Tell him that Parachutes is better. I don't like Bob Dylan. His voice drives me crazy. That's all I'm saying on that one. Where's your Cult? I don't know enough of. I'm gonna I gotta put Coldplay where they belong. right here. Oh my god, my computer being slow is killing me. And if it were better if I unplugged it, I'd probably die. Yeah, I don't like Bob Dylan's voice, so I am gonna be putting Bon Jovi in the bad tier. I don't know. It's just not my style. You know? Not into it. I'll put Boston in the good tier, from what I know. Like, the self-titled album, I haven't heard it, but it's very iconic. More Than the Feeling, really good song, right? Bowie, David Bowie. We're gonna put David Bowie in the amazing tier. In front of him, Animal Collective, right? Once again, a defining act of the 70s. We've got so many good artists. I mean, so many good albums coming from Bowie, so many iconic songs. Life on Mars, one of his early hits, is amazing. One that fills me with just so much emotion. It's so big and grandiose. And of course, he defined so much throughout his time. Starman, another just all-time classic. I'm having trouble right now. Space Oddity, amazing kind of song that jumps from like different section to section. And of course, Black Star, his newest album, the last album before he died, is a beautiful opus. Probably my favorite Bowie album. Low is really good too. That kind of cultivated what goth would sound like near the end of the decade in the 80s. Bowie is just an absolutely amazing artist in every way. So, yeah. Brand new. Oh boy, brand new. Right. We're not really supposed to talk about this band. They have been canceled, and they've been canceled for good reason. That being said, we're going to get to Cage Elephant after. That being said, they're one of the most important bands in my life. I would even say they're a band that changed my life for the better. Hearing The Devil and God Raging Inside of Me for the first time was one of the first albums I heard that was really like, oh my god, this is what music can be, high art. And it's an album, to this day, I think has so much emotional potency. I'm going to listen to it every once in a while because it just affects me in such a way. Jesse Lacey's lyricism is so amazing, and the way he kind of puts himself into perspective in the world and incorporates his religious beliefs and how he sees himself like not as a great person. When they start out as a pop punk band, right, with their first record. And from there they evolve on Deja Entendu to this emo band and go super like acoustic. And of course follow that up. And Deja Entendu is an amazing album as well. Songs like Okay, I Believe My Tommy Gun Don't, and Sit Gloria Transit, Gloria Fades. So many amazing songs. The Quiet Thing No One Knows, and the heartbreaking acoustic slower songs like I Will Play My Song Beneath The Boy Who Blocked His Own Shot, and Me versus Maradona versus Elvis. Jesse Lacey got into some weird sexual relationship with an underage fan of his, I believe. And it's really unfortunate because, like I said, they're one of my favorite bands of all time. I think their discography is genuinely perfect. I would give every brand new album a 10 out of 10. Science Fiction was my favorite album of the decade, and it still is. Their music just has a profound emotional effect on me, and I think they are probably like the greatest band of all time. They might even be my favorite band. There's one more band that I would call my favorite band that's probably on this list, but for now, it'll be brand new, and we'll see who I end up putting on top. I think I'll put the other band on top, but brand new is just amazing. All 5 of their albums are perfect. They've never put out a bad song. Their last song, their swan song, is actually a song Jesse Lacey, I think. It was Jesse Lacey. Everyone thinks it is. Called Simple Man. And it's a beautiful way to go out. Anyway, enough about that. I'm trying to keep this short for every artist. Cannibal Corpse. I've heard some Cannibal Corpse, but don't know enough yet. Car Seat Headrest, the furry band. Google that. Jesse Lacey did some sus things with women, right? Yeah. I believe underage women. So Car Seat Headrest, I'm going to put in the amazing tier. So, a defining indie rock band that really kind of kept the sound alive in the 2000s in a way, or 2010s in a way. You had Will Toledo making songs in his car. That's where I got the name Car Seat Headrest. And he put those out on Bandcamp. It's not Weezer. Weezer's not the other band. And he put some of those tracks out on Bandcamp on some albums entitled like 1 through 5, and eventually got signed to a major label where he made his major label debut, Twin Fantasy, the original version of Twin Fantasy. And through there made some great indie rock albums. Like the 2018 version of Twin Fantasy, which is one of my favorite albums that I've heard recently, what I've been really into. The 13-minute Beach Life and Death is just epic. Bodies, the lyric, that's not what I meant to say at all. I mean, I'm sick of meaning, I just want to hold you, is in a way just so... just perfect. And describes the certain emotion of just not knowing what to say, but you know, you can't describe how you feel, but you just feel it. And that record is amazing. I mean, Nervous Young Inhumans and Sober to Death. Nervous Young Inhumans has that great synth line. And they followed up 2018 album, Madlow, Making a Door Less Open. It's pretty much their version of Kid A. They completely take a left turn into... yeah, for a joke. They completely take a left turn into electronica and pop music with like a song like Can't Cool Me Down. It has these great synthesizers, but it still is a song I love and a record I love. And one I highly, highly recommend, and I am ready to hear the rest of their albums soon. My friend of mine thinks Car Seat Headrest is boring. I've only heard Twin Fantasy, but I like it a lot. Yes, Twin Fantasy is a great record. I think Will Toledo is a very talented lyricist who is really good at being frank. But his name is Will. Reminds me a lot of Pinkerton-era Weezer in a way, because he's just very honest about how he feels. And 2011 version better? Bad take. Bad take! I prefer the 2018 version, but the 2011 version is still very good. It's still Twin Fantasy, just a little more lo-fi. It all depends on what you appreciate more. I like the more kind of Weezery, louder, straightforward rock sound. Some people like the more experimental lo-fi sound. Both versions of the record are very good. I just would rather listen to 2018 version. It's hard keeping all my thoughts in straight right now. There's a lot to go over, so I'm sorry if I'm like pausing or mumbling or... Cage the Elephant I'll put in somewhat tolerable. From what I've heard of Cage the Elephant, wow, we're really gonna be doing this. From what I've heard of Cage the Elephant, right? Their newest album, I did not care for. Social Cues. I thought Social Cues was really boring. Like really boring, like a super boring rock album. And when everyone says rock is dead, I think of an album like that. But I heard their song Cigarette Daydream and thought it was pretty good. So from what I've heard at the moment, Cage the Elephant is going there. The Cars, right? So I'm putting the Cars in good tier. I like the Cars. I don't listen to them often, but They're a good group. I like the Cars. Yeah. Creedence Clearwater. A band I'm, once again, not super familiar with, except for the one song. I'm going to put them on great tier, just because Fortunate Son is one of the greatest songs ever written. No opinion on Chicago. Right. Should I just go through and... No, I'll wait. Red Hot Chili Peppers I'm also going to put on good tier here. Lyrically, I think they're a bit repetitive. Like, holy shit, the Red Hot Chili Peppers song about California? Stop the fucking presses. But it's usually a good song about California, like Californication. And most of the songs are pretty good. I like Under the Bridge. You know. So, yeah. Decent band. I feel like if I listened to them more, I would like them a lot more. I think their vocalist, who I believe Anthony Kiedis is their vocalist. Maybe he's the guitarist. Is a pretty unique vocalist. Flea, of course, one of the most iconic bassists of all time. Pretty good band. The Clash. Okay. The Clash is an interesting one because I think their discography, while being good, there's definitely one album that is much better than the rest of them. Where'd they go? So, that being said, I hate the fact that Weezer covered a song by the Cars for Cars 2. That really pisses me off. I'm not gonna lie. It really salts my apples. Why did Alice in Chains get moved? Oh my god. Okay. I'm gonna bump Creedence down to good, actually. California, slat bass, yeah. I'm gonna put The Clash on great tier. Because I think London Calling is the best punk album ever made. 1979 London Calling. I love it. Amazing double album that fuses punk with rockabilly and ska and all these other amazing sounds. You know what? I'll bump them up. Well, right? So it works really well for me. London Calling, of course, the iconic song. London Calling on there. Combat Rock is another really solid and very good album with songs like Should I Stay or Should I Go and Rock the Casbah. Give Them Enough Rope, their second album, and their first self-titled album are both pretty decent punk albums, especially for early punk, really defining. Sandinista is bloated and way too long, and Cut the Crap is atrocious. So I'm gonna put the Clash. I'll put the Clash in amazing tier. I think they're defining enough to go in amazing tier, but I'm gonna put them, I think, in between Car Seat Headrest and Bowie. Cold War Kids, a band I'm not super familiar with. Creed is going to go in the absolute worst tier. I can't stand any kind of butt rock, post-grunge bullshit like that. With Arms Wide Open, Lips of an Angel, shit's garbage. Fuck Creed. I was just talking about this, but I can't stand any of those bands. So we're going to put... I don't know enough about Crosby, Stills, and Nash. The Cure. The Cure. Right out. This is really a pain in the ass to do on a computer. I think it'd be easier if I had a mouse. The Cure is going to come right up here to greatest of all time. If you know me, you know I love this band. A band that seamlessly switches between dark, goth, depression, and bright, whimsical pop and new wave. Throughout the 80s, they made defining records in both. Their first album being just a normal, almost proto-pop punk album entitled Three Imaginary Boys, an album I really enjoy. But they just got to become one of the greatest bands ever when they released their second album, 17 Seconds, which was inspired by bands like Joy Division and Bowie's Low. Super dark, and it would just get darker from there with the extremely bleak album Faith, and then the third album in their goth trilogy, Pornography, which, if you could describe the first two Cure albums as dark or even suicidal, you could describe Pornography as a look into the abyss. I don't know how AJR got moved up to. Yeah. To a look into the abyss of darkness. And that album was so jarring, they switched to pop and made some of the greatest pop albums of all time. I love the top, the head in the door is amazing, and Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me being the 74-minute double album that's so eclectic and brings so many different sounds to the new wave kind of genre. Just amazing stuff. And of course, after that, they would make their defining album, Disintegration, going back to the goth sound, which is, in my opinion, their best album. One of the greatest albums of all time. Once again, another one of my all-time favorite albums. Really, it goes that super dark goth sound and that goth lyricism, but keeps a lot of the pop sensibilities from the new wave sounds. You have hits on this album like Love Song or Fascination Street, while still being super dark and goth, have, like I said, the new wave sensibilities to be pop appealing as well. And Pictures of You is a beautiful song, my favorite Cure song probably. After that, they went in a more dream pop direction and made a beautiful dream pop album known as Wish, which is another record I love. Wild Mood Swings, their next record, isn't as good, but I still enjoy it while a lot of people don't. And I think Bloodflowers is a great return to the Disintegration sound in 2000. And I even fuck with 413 Dream, their newest album from 2008. Self-titled's atrocious, but hey, what are you going to do about it? I wonder if I put on music if my would absolutely crash. I'm not gonna take that risk. Maybe after I'll try. I could put on the background. I could put on some. Yeah. Anywho, Incubus. So I don't know where to place Incubus, to be honest. I have people texting me. Give me a second. I just got a text from one of my friends. I know Simon and Garfunkel have explored each other's bodies. Thank you. Very cool. I wonder if they're watching right now. Oh. Where did Incubus go? Oh, I was looking at the wrong place. What even is this bad? I can't read that. With arms wide open. Yeah, that's exactly what they sound like. I can't read you, so you're going there. I used to think Pictures of You was a U2 song. Interesting. I still need to listen to U2. They're not a band I have listened to. I don't have an opinion on Deep Purple either. Def Leppard, I'll put in the somewhat tolerable tier. I don't hate them, but I hate that era of music. I hate the super... You know what? Fuck you. I'm putting it in the bad tier. I don't like the super macho, trying so hard to be masculine kind of side of 80s hard rock that so many of these bands, like Def Leppard and AC/DC and all these bands, I fucking hate it. I do. I can't stand it. So, yeah. Pour Some Sugar on Me is ass, and I do not care what you think. Depeche Mode, I know is a really cool new wave band that I need to check out. We'll get there eventually. But for now, same goes with Dire Straits. I'm not familiar enough. I'll put Disturbed on the okay tier, right? Some of their stuff is a little edgy, but for new metal, it's pretty good. You know what? Actually, I think Disturbed are a decent band, right? Down with the Sickness is iconic, no matter how cringy it is. I really like, oh, fuck, what's it called? I can't remember the song. Give your soul to me for eternity. I can't think of the name right now, but I do really like that song. And I think the Sound of Silence cover fucking sucks, personally. It's boring. He's got a beautiful voice, but it's so overhyped, and I think the Simon & Garfunkel version is better. But I'll put them on decent tier. Alright. Blur. Blur, blur, blur. This is gonna take a long ass time. How long have I been going? I'm probably not gonna finish this list tonight. I might continue a part 2 tomorrow. Where'd Blur go? This is so cringe. Blur. I'm gonna put Blur on the great tier. Nope, I don't know why you're doing that. Alright, there, Blur on great tier in the Blur. So, we've got ourselves one of the defining Britpop bands of all time. I have only heard 2 Blur albums. Listen to them up to Europa. I think it felt pretty hard. Some people like, oh, you can't leave behind, but I think it's meh. You know what? I will do a Gen Z reacts to classic rock for you too. Maybe that'll be one of my next videos when I've done the Black Country New Road video that you're hearing about right now for the first time. That's almost done. So when that's done, Blur rocks. Yes, Modern Amusement is in the chat, boys and girls. One of my favorite new bands, Modern Amusement. They would be going up on the great to amazing tier. You know what? I'll bump Blur up to amazing tier. So I'm glad Modern Amusement is here. How you doing, man? I'll put Blur on amazing tier, right? Park Life is an amazing song. Just so many fucking great songs on that record. Of course, the title track, Park Life. Girls Who Like Boys, or Girls and Boys, whatever it's called. I get it muddled up with the Panic song of a similar name. Yeah, it's 12:05 here. I don't know how late I'm gonna do this for. It's a little late. So, yeah. Filled with great songs. I love End of the Century, London Loves. I'm having a hard time remembering the songs off the top of my head, but the fucking whatever it's called, the Information Center one, something to Information Center. With so much drama, that one, banger. And my personal favorite Blur song, Bad Head. I love that song. And I've also heard the debut Blur album, and while not being quite as, being a little more akin to, like, the Stone Roses than Blur, I still think it works really well and is a very good album. I need to check out the rest of their discography. But, yeah, I'm putting Blur up here for now. Which I might ignite the second, oh, I agree, Park Life is almost perfect. I might ignite the second war of Britpop in a minute, but we'll see if we get that far today. You rule. No, you rule. Doobie Brothers. I don't know enough about Doobie Brothers to rate them. Fleetwood Mac. So I actually went to go see a Fleetwood Mac tribute band once. They were pretty cool. So I'm going to put Fleetwood Mac here. I like Dreams. I like Landslide. Right. I didn't even rate Foreigner. I actually like that band. Yeah, I think there are a little few too many instrumentals in Park. Like, I actually agree with you on that. The closing one reminds me of the end of Monty Python, though, so that's funny. Specifically, the Holy Grail. I'll put Foreigner in good tier. I like Foreigner. Jukebox Hero is a really nostalgic song for me. It's one of the few 80s bands my dad listens to that I actually really like. Jukebox Hero, like I said, is a really good song. And you're as cold as ice. You take me to paradise. Yeah, I'll actually put them above some of these bands. I'll put them here. Yeah. Trouble in the Message Center. Thank you. That's what it's called. I love that song. Bad Head is my favorite, though. But I definitely agree. Clover Over Dover. Oh my god! How can I forget about Clover Over Dover? That was my first favorite off that album. It's so sad and like emotional, and it really just makes you think. What a good song! It's been a while since I've listened to Blur. I might have to take a little trip down Blur Lane here pretty soon. Just toying with these real quick. Maybe I'll make some final adjustments later. But yeah, Clover Over Dover is actually one of my favorite Blur songs. I don't know how I forgot it. Oh, and also Song 2. I forgot to mention Song 2 as well, which I know everyone knows that. But believe it or not, I heard the Big Time Rush song that sampled Song 2 before I heard Song 2. It's called All the Windows Down. It was the second song I ever had on my first MP3 player. The first being the Big Time Rush theme song. But that shit slapped. Don't fuck with Big Time Rush because woo! All the windows down when you're rolling through the town. It slaps so hard. Song 2 is definitely better, but it just makes me laugh that Big Time Rush sampled fucking Blur, and I didn't even know it as a kid, and here I am, years later, loving Blur and being a huge fan of Gorillaz, which I'm sure we'll get to sooner or later. Now let's see, if Fleetwood Mac wants to grab for me, I'm also going to put them in good tier, right? I saw Fleetwood Mac tribute concert a few years ago now, by accident. My mother won the ticket. She likes Fleetwood Mac. She knows I love music. She's like, come with me. Sure, and it was really fun. So yeah, I think they're pretty good. Mention from Park Life is one uncut. This is a low. It's a beautiful closer. Yeah, I don't know. It reminds me of Monty Python. I think that's funny. I need to really dig into Blur's discography. I actually own the album After Park Life that's escaping me right now. The Great Escape. I own The Great Escape on CD, so. The Doors. Great tier. I'm gonna put The Doors on great tier, right? They're a band I don't listen to often, but their influence is so big. And from what I've heard, like Light My Fire, This Is the End, is a great band. I'll put them on great tier, for sure. I can't think of his name right now. Jim Morrison is a great lyricist, and they were really a visionary band in a lot of ways. So I'll put them on great tier for now, even though I'm not super familiar with them. I am familiar with some of their biggest hits, and I'm a fan of them, so. Is that Genesis? I can't fucking read that. So yeah, you're going to the don't know. Maybe I said Semisonic. I honestly can't fucking tell. Don't have an opinion on Duran Duran. I don't really have an opinion on Dream Theater. Well, Duran Duran has Hungry Like the Wolf. I like that song. We'll put Duran Duran in good tier, I guess. Or decent. What is happening? I'm having a moment. I'm gonna put Duran Duran in the okay tier. I like Hungry Like the Wolf enough. This would be so much smoother if my computer would fucking work correctly. I wish I could get to a band I like. I think I'm just gonna skip to ones I know. Okay. We're gonna make this a bit quicker and skip to bands I know. So next up, we've got, Evanescence. Decent tier, right? I think they're fine. I think they come off a little memey sometimes. And a little edgy. I don't think their music has aged necessarily greatly, but they're fine. They were album 13. Isn't album 13 the really, really, like, sad one I hear everyone talk about with, like, what looks like a cave painting as its cover? I gotta listen to more Blur. I think I might take the last couple of weeks of summer to do that, actually. Fall Out Boy. Alright. Mikey's not here anymore, I don't think. But I'm gonna only put Fall Out Boy. I am conflicted, right? Because I love their first. I'm gonna put Fall Out Boy in the greatest of all time tier because the band that made Folia Do has to be in that tier, and the band that made From Under the Cork Tree, which are two of the greatest rock albums of the 2000s. Folia Do is once again one of my favorite records of all time, and one I think just works extremely well for me. It takes their normal pop punk sound, but matures it a lot lyrically. Pete Wentz steps out of himself as a narrator and writes songs from other people's perspectives and tells other people's stories. The instrumentation is diversified, bringing in things like brass choir or brass like bands and strings and other musicians to come sing on songs like $20 Nosebleed with Brendan Urie of Panic at the Disco. And Patrick's vocals become so soulful. Their best album, hands down, but I also love their second album, From Under the Cork Tree. I think that the first album, Take This to Your Grave, is the classic pop punk album. And Infinity on High, well, I think being overrated is still a very good album, just with bad singles. I wish I could rate post hiatus Fall Out Boy differently, because Save Rock and Roll is one of the worst albums I've ever heard. But I don't know. I love Mania, believe it or not. I love that record. A lot of people hate it, but I love it, and I enjoy American Beauty, American Psycho too. So, sure, greatest of all time tier Fall Out Boy. Why not? I'd rather listen to them in 1975, honestly. I think, honestly, I'd rather listen to them than the Beatles, too. Don't tell Ella, but... And Arctic Monkeys, I'll be real. I'd rather listen to Folia Do than Arctic Monkeys. Where's the next band I really know enough about to talk about here? I don't have enough on the Eagles. Guns N' Roses. Let's talk about Guns N' Roses. I'm putting them in the absolute worst tier. I fucking hate Guns N' Roses, right? I have an unreleased video that is Gen Z Reacts to Classic Rock, Appetite for Destruction. One of the worst albums I've ever heard. Really falls into all of the pitfalls that 80s kind of hard rock and hair metal and that kind of scene does. Folia Do makes me cry. It's so good. Oh, absolutely. I probably shed a tear or two to Folia Do. The painting was of Alex James by Graham Coxon. Yeah. Fucking hate Guns N' Roses. We'll go to... Oh, I'm just confused myself. I need to do these in order. I'm sorry, people. So shit just keeps going to random places, and I don't know why, because I don't think Cannibal Corpse is bad, I just don't have an opinion on them. I'm putting Electric Light Orchestra on the great tier. Mr. Blue Sky's a masterpiece. Okay, I'll skip the Radiohead. Why not? Do you even need to fucking guess where Radiohead is gonna go? Come on. Radiohead, I like Guns N' Roses depending on I can't stand them. I cannot stand Guns N' Roses. I only like Sweet Child of Mine. Radiohead is... It's Radiohead. Come on. I talk about them literally constantly. I cannot go a single video without mentioning Radiohead or Tom York or comparing a rock artist or any artist to Tom York. Whenever I say, like, oh, this is good, but not, like, amazing, like, lyrically or anything, it's no Radiohead. Radiohead's a band that changed my life and has impacted me so much as a person. They're a band so good, in fact, that I can't pick a favorite album. It switches between OK Computer Kid A, in rainbows and a moon-shaped pool all the time. They're just so transcendent of any genre, any artistry. They're one of my favorite bands of all time. I love Radiohead so much. Whether it's their... I even like Pablo Honey. I think Pablo Honey is listenable. And then the Bends just being just such a big leap forward for the band lyrically and musically. OK Computer being absolutely perfect. And, like, how do you follow up OK Computer? By taking the biggest left turn in musical history and putting out the super weird, ambient, experimental Kid A. I didn't know ELO did a song for Megamind. That's hilarious. Kid A is an electronic masterpiece in every sense of the way. It's a song that needs to be listened to on vinyl for sure. No, I agree. Radiohead have no bad albums. I think both Pablo Honey and The King of Limbs are their weakest albums, but albums I still find extremely listenable and really enjoy. Also, I'm pretty sure there's a song from The King of Limbs in Twilight Eclipse. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that was one of the songs from The King of Limbs. I know for sure 15 Step is in the first Twilight movie, but that's the whole Can of Worms I'm opening up right now. I like Halo Thief. I think it falls off a little bit near the end. You should finish that old video. I really want to see it. I love Amnesiac. And A Moonshaped Pool. It's so sad and beautiful. But let's get on with it. It's getting long here. Elton John. I like Elton John. I'll put Elton John in the goods here. I don't have much to say about him, but I like him. Finger 11. Are okay. You know, I'll put Finger 11 are decent. Paralyzer's stupid, but I like it. Who is this? Fitz and the Tantrums? I've never heard of this band. I agree. I like Blowout. You is a really good opener, I think. I don't think it gets credit for being a really good opener. Flaming Lips is a band I want to listen to, but aren't familiar enough with. The Foo. I like the Foo. I don't know how artists do this with, like, such precision. The Foo are a good band. So can I make this any smaller? No, I can't. It'd be nice if I could. I enjoy The King of Worms. I don't love it, but I definitely enjoy it. The Fray are decent. They've got a couple good songs, I think. Fun are good. Give Me a Second Eye. A Cyclops meets a genie. The genie offers to give him 3 wishes. The first thing the Cyclops says, give me a second eye. I should do a Aphex Twin video, actually. Sure, why not? That'll be something I get to. School's starting for me soon, but I don't know much about Godspeed. Fuck Godspeed, You Black Emperor. They're so boring. I mean, they're better than all these bands, but because at least, you know what? Godspeed, You Black Emperor can go on bad tier, just because I have more musical respect than I do. Yes, Finger 11 is the Quagmire toilet meme. That's all I know too, but it's good enough to put them on decent here. I can't put, in good faith, I can't put Godspeed You Black Emperor on the absolute worst tier, because they're definitely a band that has musical integrity. I just don't like post-rock. I'm not gonna rank the Goo Goo Dolls. I'm not gonna rank Grand Funk or Grateful Dead. I'm not gonna rank Hall & Oates. I'm not gonna rank Heart. I'm not gonna bother ranking Huey Lewis. I'm not gonna rank Maiden, or Joplin, or Jefferson Airplane, or Joan Jett. I'm not gonna rank Judas Priest. I can't even read that. I'm just getting rid of some of these bands really quickly. just to kind of tidy things up. Alright, Gorillaz. So, if you know me, you know I am obsessed with the Gorillaz. I love Gorillaz a lot. Put them right here. Their first album is super, like, quirky and weird, but I love it. It's Damon Albarn from Blur's band musical project, but I think way better than Blur. Not to discredit Blur, of course. I talked about how much I love Parklife just, like, 20 minutes ago. But, Gorillaz is just another level. They're so experimental. And you can't ever fit. Why did someone dislike this? Go fuck yourself, dude. Are just on a completely different level, I think, with experimentation. None of their songs sound the same. None of them can be put in a single genre. And I really respect that. Demon Days is an absolute masterpiece. And so is Plastic Beach, which is probably my favorite record. I don't think they've ever made... They're definitely... I think the Goo Goo Dolls is a mom band, honestly. Just a little bit. I only know Iris. Where was I? Oh, Plastic Beach is my favorite, but I don't think they've ever put out a bad album. I enjoy, The Fall. I think Humans is a really great album, despite it getting a lot of hatred. I like the idea of how would all these different musicians and celebrities react to the end of the world, and the things going on about it. It's the darkest Gorillaz album, probably, but I love it. Oh no, my chat just lost connection. Give me a second, guys. I'll be, I will be, MIA from chat for a minute. Yeah. So, yeah, and their newest album is one of their best albums they've ever made. Maybe even my favorite at this point. Song Machine Season 1 has all these featured artists, and they just collaborate with Gorillaz, and all the artists fit so well. Robert Smith of The Cure, Peter Hook from New Order, Earth Gang, Slow Tie, Schoolboy Q, Beck, I think St. Vincent. So many great artists on this album, which was my 2020 album of the year, actually, was Song Machine. Gautier. A band, well, not really a band, but I guess an artist I am actually really familiar with that a lot of people aren't. I'm going to put Gautier on great tier, actually. I think the one Gautier album is really good. It's got some moments that are a little like, but some of the songs are really good. Of course, somebody that I used to know is great. But the follow-up single to that is really good. And a lot of the tracks on the album are just pretty amazing. I can't think of a lot of them off the top of my head right now because it's been a while. But his album is entitled Making Mirrors. It's a very good, like, experimental indie pop album, and I highly, highly recommend Making Mirrors. Somebody That You Used to Know, of course, is an amazing song, but the rest of that tracks on that album are really good, too. So I highly recommend it. I actually need to listen to it soon. It's been a while, hence why I can't remember any of the song names off the top of my head. It's a very good record, though. See, this is what you get when I'm not prepared. Oh, boy. Green Day, right? So, maybe a pretty polarizing band. A lot of people hate Green Day, apparently, which is surprising to a lot of people except me, because both my siblings hate Green Day. But what the fuck? I wasn't even clicking on Greta Van Fleet. Greta Van Fleet goes in the absolute worst tier. They are, they spit in the face of artistic progression by just being a complete and utter Led Zeppelin ripoff and being a 70s band tribute, bringing nothing new to the table. They fucking suck. I know I've never heard of Suede, sadly, but I will probably have to listen to them at some point. American Idiot, or Green Day. It's gonna go right here. The best band I've ever seen live. From 1991's Kerplunk to 2004's American Idiot. They had one of the greatest album runs of all time, where they put out the diamond-selling dookie that defined what pop punk was and still to this day defines pop punk and what more mainstream sounding punk rock can. They followed up with the angry, aggressive, heavier, kind of Dookie's edgy little brother Insomniac, which is one of my favorite Green Day records. From there, they diversify things on Nimrod, go full on folk punk on Warning, and then make the magnum opus American Idiot, the amazing rock opera that once again absolutely changed my life for the better. An album I still come back to and have so much emotion tied to this day. I love American Idiot. After that, sadly, I do think they went downhill. I think 21st Century Breakdown is boring. The trilogy has some okay moments, but overall it's pretty bad, especially Trey. I think Trey is garbage. Revolution Radio is a step in the right direction, but they sound so tired and out of energy. And I actually think their newest album is the best one they've put out in a while. I really enjoyed Father of All Motherfuckers. I really liked that album. I thought it was a lot of fun, and I think it's the most energy they've had in a very long time, and I think they're definitely very excited to make it. And then seeing them live last week, they're one of the best bands I've ever seen live. Absolutely blew my mind. Anyway, let's continue. Group Love. Tongue Tied is the only song I know by Group Love, but they like one of my tweets once, and Tongue Tied's a really good song, so I'm going to put them on the good tier as well. See, good tier has kind of become, like, the center for bands I only know a little bit about, but still like. So they're good. Not crazy about them, but they're good. I don't know how Genesis got a decent tier, but what the fuck? I don't know how Genesis got a decent tier. Oh my god. I'm gonna lose it here in a minute. Okay. Good tier. Alright, that works. You go on the... There's me hitting my mic again because I'm swinging my hands too hard like a stupid fucking asshole. I'm not going to rank Genesis. I don't know enough about Genesis. If it was just Phil Collins, I'd rank it and good. But I haven't heard enough Genesis to speak on it. Hendrix. Hendrix is going to go up here in the great tier. He is one of the all-time greatest guitarists of all time. That was redundant. But like Purple Haze, All Along the Watchtower, Foxy Lady. He's just great. He made some good shit. He innovated how you could play guitar. He's one of the greatest guitarists of all time. Right. Jimi Hendrix and Gautier right next to each other in the same tier. Call that a collective. Do I really need to speak on why Imagine Dragons is garbage? Definitely better than some of these bands. Because at least they have, like, Radioactive and a couple of decent songs off of, Night Visions. But those last, like, 3 albums have been so fucking bad. Green Day peaked at American Idiot, both in the sense that it's their best, and they fell off afterward. I agree, 100%. I do think American Idiot is their best record, and I think they have not been as good since. Like I said, I think Father of All is their best album in a while, but still is nowhere near the level that their early stuff was. I'm going to make a Green Day ranked video one of these days. So, Imagine Dragons is one of the worst bands of all time. Origins was garbage in 2018. 2017's album Evolve was just as bad. Thunder is one of the worst songs of all time. And then the stuff before Night Visions is fucking boring indie folk, and I can't stand indie folk. So, yeah. Incubus is gonna go in good tier. I don't have much to say. I just enjoy their music from what I've heard. The Insane Clown Posse, Don't Kill Me, is gonna go in the okay tier. They're bad, but I think they're funny. Fire, water, air, dirt, fucking magnets. How do they work is hilarious. And so is like The Amazing Maze. They're bad objectively, but I enjoy them. In an ironic sense. I think they're funny. I don't like Journey. don't like Journey at all. They are your definition of your stereotypical 80s hair band trying way too hard to be masculine, over the top, and they're so over the top with everything they play. I can't stand Journey. I fucking hate Journey. I do. I'm sorry. I can't. But a good band, Joy Division, right? I prefer their older or their younger siblings, but I think Joy Division can go on the amazing tier, honestly. Their first record, Unknown Pleasures, just changed everything. Pretty much created post-punk. It was so spacious and cold and atmospheric, and of course, everyone always focuses on Ian Curtis's lyricism, and I think Ian Curtis was a really good lyricist. Spoke about depression and isolation and loneliness and all these like suicidal thoughts and darkness in such a great way. But I think really the highlight for me of Joy Division is Bernard Sumner on the guitars. Just listen to his shreddage on Shadow Play. It sounds fucking amazing. Him and Peter Hook on bass, just wow. Unknown Pleasure is home to some of the best guitar and bass playing I've ever heard. Disorder, Shadow Play, She's Lost Control. Holy shit, this album is good. And Closer is really good too. Well, I don't think Closer is actually as memorable. Some people prefer Closer to Unknown Pleasures. I don't think it's as memorable, but I still think it's a really good album. Actually, I own Closer on vinyl. I don't have a copy of Unknown Pleasures yet. I'm gonna put Blur up here and Joy Division here. I'm trying to kind of rank it within the tiers, right? Of course, we got New Order out of Joy Division. We'll get there later, but yeah, Joy Division's an amazing band. Also, Love Will Tear Us Apart is good. Alright, The Killers. So, The Killers is a band that really... Water, fire, air, dirt, long ago that four nations lived in harmony, but everything changed when the magnets attacked. Based magnet benders? So I'm putting The Killers in the all-time great tier, only because of their first three albums. Right. The post-punk revival, new wave goth-inspired debut, Hot Fuss, is one of the greatest debut albums of all time. It's so good. Mr. Brightside is iconic. It still charts every year, pretty much. All These Things That I've Done is my favorite song ever written. It got me through hard times my freshman year. I love it. And Sam's Town did the same for me. An album that is highly emotional and one I feel for so much. That entire album is perfect. I think Sam's Town's a masterpiece. It's their best album. Once again, one of my favorites of all time. And Day and Age is another really good album. While a lot of people hate Day and Age, I love it. I like the popular direction on it. And I think the lyricism on the album is really interesting. And I dug really deep into it, listening to it, and have a whole theory about how I think that's a concept album about two characters that are the same side of a coin in suicide. One who made it out and one who didn't. I'm going to make a video on it sooner or later because I wrote all the notes down. But I really like Day and Age. After that, I do think their albums go downhill. Battleborn is so boring. And while I think Wonderful Wonderful from 2017 was a little better with some good songs like The Man and the title track and Tyson vs. Douglas, I do think most of it's pretty boring. Now, a really good album they put out was their follow-up to that last year's Imploding the Mirage, which is an album I loved at first. Shrunk on me a little bit, and especially after hearing the new album Pressure Machine, it kind of makes me think Imploding the Mirage doesn't have as much character as I originally thought they did. But still an album I really enjoy from Imploding the Mirage. Songs like My Own Soul's Morning, Caution, the huge chorus on My God, and of course the Talking Heads Worship Fire and Bone that I absolutely adore. Pressure Machine fucking sucks, by the way. It's their worst album. Expect a review of that bullshit soon. I can't read what that says, so it's gonna... Oh, King Crimson? I'm not familiar with King Crimson, sadly. Kiss... I'm not gonna bother reading Kiss. Or Korn. I can't read that. Led Zeppelin. I don't really like Zeppelin, I never have. They have some good songs. But overall, I think they're pretty overrated. The Biscuit fucking sucks. I don't know if they're the worst band of all time, but they're up there for me. I think Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water is the worst album I've ever heard. It actually made all music sound like garbage to me for, like, the entire rest of the day after I heard it. I don't like it, I don't like it, I don't like it, I don't like it. It's the only Biscuit album I've heard. I've heard some Biscuit singles, like, Noogie. Yeah. I know there are a lot of people who, like, there's a whole counterculture on Twitter now of people who, like, really like the Biscuit. I can't fucking stand Limp Bizkit. Maybe I'll listen to some of their other albums. The debut, I'll maybe listen to a reaction to or something. I'm never listening to Results May Vary, though. I'm never taking, like, 80, 90 minutes out of my fucking life to listen to that shitty album that doesn't even have Wes Borland on it, so. Linkin Park being the other side of the new metal coin. One of the greatest bands of all time. At least in the beginning, I think Hybrid Theory and Meteor... I'm not rating Meatloaf, by the way. I think Hybrid Theory and Meteora being two greatest new metal albums of all time. Hybrid Theory being an album that means a lot to me. My 8th grade year really kind of resonated with me at the time. I was very edgy and angry back then. And that's an album that really just defined every way I was feeling at the time. Similar to kind of another album we'll talk about later. And of course, it was my edgy phase. I was angry and like a Leafy stan and all those things, but still an album I come back to now and even still hear the musical quality. It's still such an amazing album with great raps, great lyrics, amazing guitar and chord progressions, and Meteora, while I prefer Hybrid Theory, Meteora takes everything Hybrid Theory did and cleans it up and does it just as good. Minutes to Midnight, while being boring in some places, is another great record. Someone in a group chat I'm in ironically thinks Limp Bizkit is the greatest band of all time. There are people that fucking love the Bizkit. I know a lot of people that absolutely stan Limp Bizkit. I don't understand it. I don't. I'm sorry. I don't get it. But I am under the belief that I don't think Linkin Park has ever made a bad album. I even like most of One More Light. Living Things is highly underrated. It's my third favorite after the first two records. Hunting Party has really grown on me a lot over the years. I really like it now. I didn't at first. Yeah, I think every Linkin Park album is pretty good. I'll put them... I think Linkin Park are good there. I think if I were to do this a couple years ago, Linkin Park would probably be at the front here, but for now, that's where they'll go. Lumineers, I don't like Lumineers. I think they're boring. M83, though, is a really cool band. They have one album. I know. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it has Midnight City on it. It's like this cool, like, dream rock kind of shoegaze kind of sound mixed with, it's mostly like an electronic record. But it's mind-blowing. It's some good shit. I highly, highly recommend the M83 album with, I think it's called Hurry Up, We're Dreaming. I highly recommend it. Midnight City is an amazing song. And the album's a little long, but it's definitely worth your listen. It's not quite vaporwave, but it's got that, like, really dreamy electronic vibe to it. Synth pop almost, but shoegazy. I don't know how to describe it. It's really, really pretty, though. I highly recommend Hurry Up, We're Dreaming. One I listen to quite a bit. Manson's decent. I like some Manson stuff. You know, I'll put Manson on the okay tier. I like some Manson stuff, but it's not something I come back to a lot anymore. When I was going through my edgy phase, I really liked Manson, but unlike Linkin Park, a band I can come back to now and still see as being an amazing band, Manson does not hold up as good for me. I still really like Coma White. I love that song, and I really like their cover of Sweet Dreams Are Made of These. But some of their songs, like, I can't get into. I don't like The Beautiful People anymore. Or a lot of the kind of heavier, edgier songs. Not as much as I used to. So I don't know what this artist is. Like I said, I'm having trouble reading these. Oh, Machine Head. I'm not familiar with Machine Head. M83 is the meme song. Ba boop boop boo. Wah ooh ooh woo. Yeah. Love that song though. Maroon 5. I don't know where to place Maroon 5. I don't. And here's the thing. Songs About Jane is genuinely a really great album. Once again, much like 1975's debut, I think it perfectly rides the line between pop and rock. But it's one that doesn't work after that record. I really like their third record too, Hands All Over. I think is a lot of fun. And I guess it won't be soon before long is okay. But they have 2 0 out of 10 albums. V from like 2015 and then 2021's Jordy. Both absolute 0 out of 10s. And I hate Overexposed and I hate Red Pill Blues as well. Are 2 good albums and then a really, like, one of the worst discoveries of all time afterward, enough to put them in. I'll put them in bad. No, I don't know. Because they started out so good, but now they're like the definition of soulless garbage. I need to add a tier. Will it let me add a tier? Can I do that? Settings. Add a row below. Or no, I don't know. New. We'll put Maroon 5 in between absolute worse than bad. No. 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 Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Oh no. I've ruined my tears. Okay, absolute worst. Absolute worst. Alright, so where's the asterisk? Where is the asterisk? Hello. Welcome to Riley's ASMR. There it is. So yeah, Moon 5 gets its own tier because I'm so conflicted about between how much I love their first album and their third album and how much I hate the rest of their fucking discography. Maroon 5, I couldn't even spell it right. God, I'm so fucking stupid. Maroon 5. No opinion on Matchbox 20. Oh boy, there's still a lot to go. What, you think we're about halfway through this list? What do you think? Should I pick this up another time?